Good afternoon, everybody. Oh boy, I did have this up. Good afternoon. Welcome to the market close for Friday. I was going to say September, but we're still in August, August 23rd. So what a day. What a day. We have a train. We have a train strike that went to binding arbitration, and now it's even gone into a bit more drama. So we're going to talk a little bit about that probably on the other side of the bell. So we got a very green day on the market. And it's fair to say that I have no doubt that overall this has been a green week. We did have two red days in there, one kind of mild. Yesterday was a little bit more, a little stronger of a red day, but overall, not a bad week. Not a bad week. So let's, first of all, all right, there we go. I'm pulling up the right thing here. All right, let's take a look at the markets here. See what's going on right now as we speak. So we are looking at the TSX. You can see we had a nice big green jolt in the morning. It's been a little flat in the afternoon, but we're still nonetheless in the green, 1.01%. TSX, same kind of story, and it's up 0.92%. NASDAQ is up 1.12%. Now, I do have a delay on the NASDAQ, so we're looking at the NASDAQ 15 minutes ago, so I don't know what's going on with that. And the Dow Jones is also up. Basically, everything's up about 1%, pretty much 1% across the board. Gold's up 1.03%. Silver's up 2.9%. Oh, look at this. This is a nice little movement on silver. Even oil has been rebounding after I was talking about this this long haul down. Well, it seems to have reversed. So oil is doing well. And look at this. We got Bitcoin. If you guys remember, in the last market close, we were sitting over here as we had just entered into what I had called this resistance zone. And I told you guys, I didn't think it was going to get through this time. I thought it was going to get pushed back down to support. And here's support down here. So yeah, it did. That's exactly what it did. And I also said, this is like I'm tooting my own horn a little bit. But I said I think it's going to break through on the next try. And well, look at this. Does that not look like it broke through the zone of support? Right now, we're sitting up at 782. So that's not too shabby. Now, we are going to experience, as it pushes its way up, there's going to be those psychological levels. So when it did push its way up here initially, its first big batch, it pushed itself up, and once it crossed 62, that was kind of a psychological level because we were having difficulty getting out of this zone. So a lot of people sold, and you can see from this wick, it pushed it all the way back down to 60. But then it's like, okay, we shook those people out. Now let's move on. Let's do what we were planning to do, and that's what Bitcoin is doing. So go Bitcoin. And you know what, guys? Let's just do this funny thing I like to do here. We're just going to put in a quick little line to show where they were at the beginning of the stream, and we'll see if they pick up any steam at all. So we'll put it right there. We go. There we go. So there's where Bitcoin is when we started this today. We'll see if they can actually maybe get a little bit during the stream. We'll have to see. Ethereum is also looking pretty good. We got a nice movement to the upside on Ethereum. Let's go to the heat map. And boy, this is a good heat map. Look at this. There's a lot of green. There's not a lot of red. I can see two big pieces of red. Alimentation cost chart a little bit down, 0.71%. And routers is down as well, or routers. They're down 0.63%, but everything else is looking pretty good. TD is looking good again. I mean, they had their earnings call yesterday, and it wasn't that great. I mean, let me just sort of rephrase this. The earnings wasn't bad, but because they had to put aside a whole bunch of money for all of that, all of the fines that are going to be hitting them from the US. So all of that money laundering. Between that, and they also put aside some additional money for loan loss provisioning. That kind of hurt them, and that's the reason they failed when it comes to yesterday's earning report. So if those two things weren't happening, they would have had a pretty good earnings. I would have definitely would have called it pretty darn good. Manulife Financial, look at that. They're up 3.11%. That's not too shabby. Not too shabby at all. And of course, the railroads. The railroads are both up. And that's kind of what we actually, I actually thought that when they went, when we got our double strike, I expected the price to go further to the red than it did. I was planning to, because I've got a couple of shares in the challenge in the cash. So in cash, I was actually planning to liquidate those yesterday and buy another share of CN if it dropped below. And I was looking for it basically to drop down to about 149. That's what I was hoping for, but it didn't do it. It actually stayed above my adjusted cost base. So I didn't liquidate the cash, and I didn't get another share of CN, but I would have. I certainly would have if it would have fell a bit more, but it just didn't. But both CNR and CP looking good, but that's a response to them going back to work. And that may not exactly be what the scenario is going to turn out to be. And we'll talk more about that, like I said, after the bell. So in about 8 minutes, we'll talk about what's happening with CN and what's happening with CPKC. It's so funny. I keep wanting to call them CPKS because of the Kansas City Southern, but it is CPKC. All right, let's. So once again, yeah, well, all of the ETFs, they're all looking pretty darn good. VEQT is actually doing really good compared to XEQT. Like, look at this, 0.83 up to 0.73. So that's not too shabby, not too shabby at all. VFE, we always talk about them. That's our deep dive today. That is the video that actually dropped 2 o'clock Eastern. So if you haven't seen it yet, definitely check that out after the stream. All right. And in the US, once again, not bad. A lot of green. Look at this. NVIDIA is up 4%. NVIDIA, I keep calling them NVIDIA. It's NVIDIA. NVIDIA is up 4.09%. Microsoft's up a tiny bit. Google's up. Meta's down a little bit, though. That's kind of interesting. Tesla's up 4.66%, so that's not too shabby. All right. McDonald's, though, is pretty flat. They're still flat. They were 0.00. Now they're plus 0.01. We're going to look back on all of this, of course, at the close. All right. Look at crypto. Whoa. When Bitcoin rises, it pulls everybody along with it. So it's like Bitcoin is the sun. And these are all big, some of them are big ass planets, but they're all planets. They're planets following Bitcoin. Yeah, it is kind of interesting. Oh, I have the wrong mouse again. Let me change my mouse because there's 14,000 Bitcoins out there. And we're going to find one that I have never heard of. And we're going to go deep. We're going to go really, really deep. Okay, I just got to get myself down to this corner here so I can't see what I'm clicking on. All right. So the market is green. I like to try to click on the opposite color. So we'll grab this little red one right here and see what we got. DREP. We're looking at DREP. I don't know what DREP is, but maybe it's new. Maybe it's new. I don't know. But yeah, they were worth at one point 23 cents, and they made it up to 53 cents. But now they're not even worth a penny. They fell down and they have flatlined. Like quite literally, I don't know if I'm on a screen or if I'm on a prairie in Saskatchewan. We got flatness here. So this is, once again, this is a coin I'm never going to buy. It will never be in my portfolio. There are so many of those crap coins out there. I don't know what this one does. If you guys know, you can certainly throw it into the comments. But yeah, this is our crypto coin I'm never going to buy. Example of that 14,000 group of coins. I'm okay with the bigger coins, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, those, heck, I would even buy Dogecoin before I would buy some of these random small coins that we look at. All right. Oh boy, we got about 4 minutes to the bell. Let's get to the chat because you guys have been chomping at the bit. All right. Oh boy, there's a lot here. Ricardo is our first chatter of the day with a good afternoon. First comment. I love it. I love it when you get in first. Let's see. Oh, my portfolio hit the lotto today with rate cuts in horizon. Yeah, absolutely. That's another thing too that happened. There was a meeting, and Papa Powell had a chance to speak today, and he's pretty much confirmed rate cut September. The mystery he's keeping is it going to be 25 or is it going to be 50? Maybe something different. That's an interesting play. That is an interesting play. So it makes me think that there is a chance. Because I was thinking it was just going to be a 25, just to get your feet wet. But the fact that he kind of teased, I'm thinking there's a chance. I'm thinking there's a solid chance we could even get a 50 basis points on that September rate cut. So this will be interesting. And we got good vibes in the house with a highs. All right. Al Bundy in the house with a hello. We got Stan Gray in here. Good vibes again. All right. Let's see. Ricardo wants to know if Al is playing any of the strike stuff that's going on with the railroad. Oh boy. Yeah. That's kind of an interesting thing. All right, I'm going to skip past this conversation, and we're going to jump all the way down here to Mary. Mary's in the house, so that means I need to take a sip of coffee while you guys all hit that like button. Turn it blue, and then we'll be really close to the bell. Well, we still got a couple minutes. Oh, that's really good. Really, really good. All right, I'm going to skip past all of this conversation between Al and Ricardo. Boy, they're really getting into it. And that takes us down to Patricia. Patricia is saying the market is pretty green. The market's insanely green. I'm loving the day. Now, mind you, if you are looking to get a buy the dip opportunity, today is not your day. Today is absolutely not your day. Mario says, the stock market today, if performing like Al Bundy with 4 touchdowns in a game. Yeah, it's doing absolutely great. We had about 1 minute and 7 seconds left. Let's see. Patricia said, I added a bit in Alimentation Couche-Tard. I wished I bought TD when it was under $78. I was hoping it would drop, but came back up. Yeah, I think everybody had a pretty good day today. So, let's take a look. Let's see if there were any losers. I better bring this up because otherwise you guys aren't going to. Well, Alimentation Couche-Tard was a loser today, but let's get rid of the winners. Let's get rid of all of the winners, and we're getting into the losers here. Oh boy, look at this. Canadian Tire down 10%. I think they've won. I don't think we need to look any further. But we'll get rid of some of the losers. We'll just get the big losers. And Canadian Tire. Canadian Tire. Oh boy. Not a good day to be holding CTC. Not a good day for that. So yeah, what can I say? Let's take a look here. We see now it's not looking as bad because you got to look at it this way. They had this nice big pump, looks like on the 19th. And so then they have come back down. So they're kind of normalizing in this area. So it's not as bad as it looks. It's time. And the market is go. We got the bell in. We got the bell in. Yes, a Canadian Tire. Definitely an interesting move. Definitely an interesting move there. All right, we will look at them, or we'll look at the markets here in a second. I want to talk a tiny bit about those railroads, though, before we do. So I'm going to just pull back up to Big Me. So, okay. Now, most of you have probably heard everything happening on the news, of course. So we did, of course, get to, I said, of course, twice in there. That's not right. We did get to that situation where both railroads, had basically, we had a lockout notice right away from CN as soon as it hit 12:01 a.m. on Thursday. Same thing, same idea with CPKC. So we had a full strike / lockout. Same, it's kind of like splitting hairs. But yeah, we went into Thursday with a strike. So the government had not done anything. They let it happen. And sure enough, we had disruptions. We had a little bit of chaos in some of the bigger cities where, some of the tracks weren't allowed to be used, or some of the stations weren't allowed to be used. And luckily, everything looked to be going good because the government did step in, and along came binding arbitration. So that was fantastic. So CNR, they responded Thursday night to it saying, okay, yeah, we're going to take we've stopped our lockout. We're going to let people start coming back in, and, it's all fine and dandy. And even today, there was a little bit of movement, and there were some trickles of employees coming in. CPKC on the other side, they didn't. The lockout was still, their strike was still going. And it was like, the Teamsters were not happy. They were like, we're not going back yet. We don't think this is fair. And they're challenging this government action for the binding arbitration. Well, okay, so we got everything looks great with CNR, looks bad with CP, but add the latest drama this afternoon. CP has come along, and they have, not CP themselves, sorry, CNR has come along, and their Teamsters have now filed a new strike notice. So they're like, yeah, we're going on strike anyway. So it looks like this is not over. It looks like the disruption in the supply chain is going to be serious. It looks like I think we got to the point where the Teamsters have basically said, we're going to do whatever it takes to get the deal that we're looking for, that fair deal. And that is just going to be, it's going to be disruptive. It's going to be disruptive. And I don't know how this is going to end. That's the interesting thing. So what is left in the quiver for the government? I'm thinking they may have to they may actually have to bring in Parliament and look at back to work. But here's that thing. And I was talking to Jill earlier about this. Can the Liberals get that through? Who is going to side with them? So it's going to be really interesting. Now, I think most parties will. Maybe not the NDP, because there have been rumors that the NDP was the ones that were sort of telling the government, don't do the binding arbitration. Don't send them back to work. Let them work this out themselves. So we'll have to see. I imagine that the Liberals, if they were to push that through, they'll get one other party will probably support them. Considering the damage this is going to do to the country, I think most parties will probably, other than the NDP, will support them. I don't think it'll come down to a situation where let's use this to our advantage to get because we got that split between the Liberals and the NDP. Let's not use this to our advantage at this point to try to get a vote of non-confidence. So I don't think that'll happen. So it's going to be very, very, very interesting for sure. All right, let's see here. We're going to jump down to Paul. We're jumping over the Ricardo Al show that's going on in the comments. MicroStrategy up 12.4%. Yeah, that does not surprise me. MicroStrategy, I mean, they hold so much Bitcoin that if Bitcoin is pumping, they are pumping too. And they tend to pump even more, excuse me, even more than Bitcoin. And let's take a look. Let's take a look at this. I love it. I love it. All right. So right now we got, oh, that's Ethereum I'm on. I'm like, what's going on? That doesn't look like my chart. Here we are. So we have come down a little bit from where we were at the beginning of the show, but I don't know. Do I have MSTR in here? I might, or I might not. I have Microsoft. I don't have MSTR. Let me add this in. All right. Let's just do MSTR. There we go. MicroStrategy. Let's take a look at what they're doing today. All right. So it doesn't look as impressive, but I mean, if you look at it, they went from 142 to 151. So they went up about $10. So that's not too shabby. And technically, you could even say if we go back to last week, so that sorry, that's actually today as well. So Friday the 23rd. So, okay, yeah, they went up this whole bit. All right, I am on the 1 hours. That's good to know. So that's not too shabby. 134 to 151. So that's, that's like, what, $16? Not too shabby. Not too shabby at all. Yeah, so that's a good move. And look at this. They did the same thing that Bitcoin did. They punched through their supports. So now Bitcoin punched through the supports before this big pump here, but that's not too shabby. So MicroStrategy, pretty good if you're holding MicroStrategy, or if you're holding one of those other accounts, like for example the CDR for MicroStrategy. So that's pretty good. Patricia's giving everybody a thumbs up. All right. Ricardo says BYXT steady as she goes. I hold only 5 shares, but average price of $83. Not too bad. Oh, and I have to go back because I missed this one too. Because sometimes it's when they transition out of their conversation with each other. So I can't wait for Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday's gonna be fun. So that's the deep dive. Our market close next Wednesday coincides with the NVIDIA earnings call. It'll happen right after the bell. So I am looking forward to that because I think that's going to be fantastic. I'm really like, we'll come back down here. Like I made my little prediction. Yesterday kind of threw my prediction out the window a little bit, but they are making that move back to get in there. Let's see here. NVIDIA, here they are. All right, so you can sort of see, here's kind of where I was thinking we were going up to, and this is Wednesday pretty much right here. And then that would be kind of like our after effect. So we were following it, but, we kind of got off a little bit, and then we had yesterday. Yesterday, not a great day, but, they're still trying to get back up. They can still get to this point. And even even if they only get to here and then still only get to here, I'm still friggin' happy with what they're doing. So we'll keep in mind. We'll see what happens. So it's, I guess this week I called Bitcoin dead on, but NVIDIA is giving me a little bit more trouble, bit more trouble, but that's fine. I have no problem with that. All right. Tom Smith says, any interest in the Harvest High Income ETFs? Yes, there is. I'm actually making, that's the next video. Not Monday, but Monday for channel members, but Tuesday for everybody else, that video will be dropping. I'm going to break down these new Harvest high income ETFs. So basically each one has, has 4. So there's basically 4 different ETFs for each of the companies that they're doing. They're having basically a covered call, and then a covered call pegged to US, and then a covered call leverage, and then a covered call leverage pegged to the US. So we're definitely going to get that. That's coming out. I'm excited about that. Now, the funny thing is, I planned it. I even threw it on, let me show you. I threw it on the thing here. Discord schedule. At least I think I did. Did I? Yeah, here we go. Horizon, single company ETF. So I got that on the schedule. I put this on the schedule, and then that night, Peavis Wealth went and dropped a video on them as well. But that's fine. There's, it's good to have multiple perspectives. So, but that is coming out on the 27th. So that's going to be fantastic. I can't wait. I can't wait. All right. Let's see here. Sounds like a good play. Let's see. Sorry, Candace. I just wanted to bounce off ideas off fellow Canadians since you guys are boots on the ground compared to me. Oh, no, that's fine. That's fine. I don't mind you guys holding conversations with yourselves in the chat at all. The only thing I say is that, if it's busy, if it's a busy day and we got a lot of stuff going on in chat, I'm just going to skip over your conversations. But if it's not a busy day and your conversation is, I might pull it in, but it just depends on how busy we are. But I don't mind. I don't mind that at all. Also, keep in mind, too, Discord is a fantastic place, too, that you guys can connect and talk about whatever the heck you want to. I'm always open to that. I try to read as much as I can in Discord, but sometimes there's a lot of stuff in there. So, but I do my best. All right, let's see here. Mario says, I'm interested in the new Harvest ETFs. Right. And I put, they're Harvest, aren't they? I don't know why I put her. I actually wrote down Horizon. Yeah, they're Harvest. Anyway, I'll fix that. Let's see. Me too. I'm just wondering if it's worth it. It's going to be interesting. One of the things I'm liking with these new ETFs is that they are providing you with more options than what Purpose does. So Purpose, you have like one for NVIDIA. It's just a simple covered call one. You have that option. But with the Harvest ones, you're going to have that. You're going to have all of those options. I think it's going to be fantastic. Anyway, we'll have that video out for you on Tuesday. I think it'll be good. Let's see. Seabass says, I never found the reason for the erratic movement of CANL. So the S&P 60 plus 25% leverage. So I placed it with HFIN plus HUTS. Not exactly the same, but quite close. Yeah. And that's something that you have to look at. Like, you have to look at your own risk profile. For one, when you do add leverage to an ETF, yeah, when it's going up, you can make some money. But you also have to realize that when it reverses direction, it's going down, you're losing more. So that 25% that you're picking up extra, pretty well, we're just going to say 25%. The math or the semantics, it might be a little bit different. There's definitely a good standard deviation on that. That amount that you're picking up, you're going to lose that amount when it goes down. So I'm always kind of careful. Like, for example, if you're investing in, we'll use oil for an example. So if you're investing in an oil ETF with leverage, and when oil's going up, boy, you're making some good returns. You're making some good returns, that's for sure. But if events happen that you pretty much know that oil's probably going to be struggling for a while, then you might want to back out. That might be the time to back out and go with a regular non-leveraged version. So, like, for example, you've got ENCC and ENCL. That's where you could say, okay, things are not looking good. There's a lot of stuff in the news. It makes me think oil's going to struggle for the next while. Perhaps I'm going to drop from ENCL down to ENCC, because ENCC, you're still going to have, it's going to love that volatility. So the covered call part is, but then at least you're not dealing with the leverage at that point. But then there's other people who are like, I don't care. I'm just going to go leave it there. It'll be fine in the end. Even when I lose it going down, I'm just going to get it back anyway when it comes back up. So there's a lot of people who will think that way too. All right. Ricardo says, I apologize, I don't have Discord. Oh, no worries. I was just sort of pointing that out as a place for people. Actually, it was more or less to highlight Discord, to be honest. So it's like, yeah, it's a place that people can go and talk if they want to. I'm just going to pull that down there for a moment. Oh, it is 4:15. You know what? Let's bring this back up. Let's take our final look at the market. So we got TSX. They did finish the day at what am I on? Yeah, I'm on the TSX. I was just wondering why I had a B there. Probably something I did. Um, so yeah, they finished the day up 1.08%. Not too shabby. S&P 500 up 1.15%. NASDAQ 1.18%. So that's not too bad. Dow Jones also up 1.14%. Gold up 1.18%. Now that's still trading, of course, on the weekend. Silver up 2.89, oil 2.59, and Bitcoin. We're back. Oh, look, we made it back. We made it back to the to our beginning of the show. So we'll look in on that again before we finish, because I want to see if we can beat that. And Ethereum also up 5.25%. So not too shabby. Whoops. We come to this and we're talking about all the green. Let me add the winners back here. There we go. Once again, a nice day on the market. We got a lot of green. Everything is looking pretty darn good. So pretty exciting. That's for sure. There's really nothing for me to sort of narrow in on in this case. I think everybody, for the most part, most companies are doing pretty good. So I'm liking it. Same idea with the ETFs. They're all doing pretty darn good as well. And on the US side, yeah, once again, we got some pretty good stuff going on. Highlights of the day, NVIDIA and Tesla. Both of them doing magnificent. So I just had to work that in since they're part of the Magnificent Seven. So what can I do? And then cryptocurrency, yeah, it's a giant green fest. It's like my Uncle Rory's lawn if he hasn't mowed it in 6 years. It's green. It's green. I don't actually have an Uncle Rory, but it was in my head and it sounded funny there, so I went with it. Perfect. All right. And in regards to Discord, Al is saying you should. It's a good little form, and there we go. Ricardo is downloading it, so very, very cool. Mario says next time drop the video before everyone, then you will hit 5K for members. Drop the video before everyone, then you will hit 5K for members. Okay. I think I don't understand what you're saying. So drop the video before everyone, then you will hit. Okay. You might have to explain it to me. Maybe, yeah, I'm not 100% sure exactly what you're saying. But yeah, 5K, that is the next goal, of course, is if we get 5K subscribers, then we're going to do something. I don't know what we're doing yet, but we're going to do something. I can get rid of this here for a bit. Let's see, you don't have to download it. Yeah, exactly. Like you can just use the Discord on your browser, right in the browser. That's the way I do it. But if you're on your phone, then you probably do want to download their app because it's easier to use an app than to use it probably in your Safari window or your Chrome window, depending on what you're using. Jonathan, you missed the bell. And I hope, you know what, Jonathan, if that is actually the worst thing to ever happen to you, you've had a pretty good life. So not too shabby. How was the member live stream? It was good. We got into a whole bunch of stuff on AI, and we were looking at Excel and formulas, and so yeah, I thought it was pretty darn good. I think we had a good time. That's for sure. Now keep in mind, if you missed the exclusive channel member live stream, here's the thing. You got a couple of options here. If you sign up and become a channel member, you go back and watch all of the old ones. So that's option. You have 3 options. That's option 1. Option 2, the first Sunday of every month, I give away 10 free memberships. You could try to win one of those. And to win one of those, all you have to do is be active on the channel. So, leave comments and likes and things like that. and the algorithm uses that to determine who it's going to pick. So that's option 2. Option 3 is that I have come up with a new thing that and the channel members know about it. If if one of these old live streams is more than basically roughly about a year old, I'll actually release it. So if you guys noticed, probably what was it, 2 weeks ago, I released one of the old ones. It was who are my favorite YouTubers. Now, mind you, they're about a year out of date. So there is that, but it gives you an idea just to sort of see the different types of things. One of the ones coming up, I don't know if it's coming up in September or October, we'll actually get to release one of my favorite channel member live streams, which is where I did the tier list. So that's going to be coming up, and that's going to be cool. So nice. Let's see. Ask Candace for an invite. Yeah, I can post one. I can totally post one. All right. I'll just bring this up so you guys can see what I'm doing. Let's go over to Discord. Here we go. Invite people. Edit the invite list so there is no limit and that it does not expire. Although sometimes I find they still expire. I don't know why. All right. I got it. I'm going to drop it here into chat for you. Whoops. Come on. There we go. I think there we go. It worked. All right. Let's see. There's a guy in the Discord who is really into investing. He seems really bright. There we go. Yeah, we got a lot of interesting things. You know, and the other thing too is our Discord, it's not like static. In other words, it'll evolve as the community evolves. So for example, if there's a topic or a feed that you're like, let's just say, for example, let's just say one of you guys is like a photographer. And you're like, you know what, Candace, I would really like to have my own little photography thread in there. Can I have it? And I'll be like, yeah, okay. I'll give it to you. I don't care. You can have it. I like looking at pictures. So I would probably definitely look at every single one because, you know, I do like I take a lot of pictures too. So. All right, let's see. I don't think he comes into the live stream. Okay, so it's somebody in the... Okay, now I have to figure out who that is. Let's see. I would love to chat with people to bounce off ideas. Yeah, absolutely. See, here's a great example. Vineet, Vineet goes in there and bounces off ideas. And sometimes he'll message me directly and bounce off ideas off of me too. And that's fantastic. It's a great way to get some conversations going. I love it. And Vineet actually got to meet up in real life with JJ. So the two of them got to spend an afternoon together. So that was kind of cool too. Ricardo says, especially if we are talking technical and fundamentals. Oh, yes. Let's see. My favorite leverage ETF is EIT.UN. Yeah, I think a lot of people, I think that's a favorite for a lot of people. You would actually be surprised, Mario, that a lot of people don't realize that they do use some leverage. A lot of people don't know it. Rochester says, what ETFs are best to take advantage of the interest rate cuts? All right, I'll show you. You've given me the opening. So this is your fault. I don't know why. Let's just pull it up here. So here's one ETF that I'm excited about for the interest rate cuts. And that's the Hamilton REITs Yield Maximizer. All right. Now, right now it launched. It wasn't that long ago. Let's just go here. 3 months. So it launched back here in, the 20th of June. So it launched in June, the end of June, and it launched at $16. It's already up to $17.89. Now, in addition to this crazy growth that it has been experiencing, you're also getting a huge yield of 9.194%. So what I do like, here's why I like this one so much. One, they're not just Canadian REITs. So they have 50% Canadian REITs, 50% US REITs. So the REITs right now in the US, REITs are doing really, really, really well. And Canada REITs are starting to do well. So we're starting to see some movement in the right direction. And that's only going to get bigger as we get more rate cuts. Um, and that's going to benefit this ETF. So I personally, in the 0 to 100K challenge, I've got this in there. I'll be riding this up as the rate cuts continue. Once we're finished the rate cut cycle, I will probably move to other things at that point out of this ETF. But keep in mind, when we get our last rate cut, that won't be the day I move out, because there is a little bit of a lag. So when a rate cut happens, it can take a couple of months to get those effects in there. So once we are completely out of the rate cut cycle, we'll probably still have some really good growth for the next couple of months on this as well. So, and don't worry, I will tell you guys when I'm moving out, and that will give you. Obviously, you want to do your own due diligence. You don't want to, because if I decide to jump ship on something, it doesn't mean you have to jump behind me. I mean, I'm sure your moms used to say, hey, if your friend jumps off the bridge, you're gonna do it too. Of course not. You're gonna, you'll maybe jump off a smaller bridge, or maybe you'll check the water first. I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying. We'll leave that one there. Let's see here. All right, and now Ricardo was saying KRE would benefit off the rate cuts big. Well, let's look at KRE. We're in here. Let's come in. KRE. Here we go. All right, so this here is the SPDR S&P Regional Banking. Okay, so this is a banking ETF. It's a U.S. stock, so something to keep in mind. Now, let me take a look here. And, I'm not getting any data at all on this one. Is there, and that's sometimes with U.S., there's sometimes, sometimes you have to grab the second one. There we go. And you'd think I'd learn by now, and I always grab the wrong one first. I just do. All right, this is what I'm looking at. So, okay, a small distribution yield, that's fantastic, because then you're not going to be dealing with, I'm the type that if it's a small distribution, I don't mind losing the 15% withholding tax. I don't like to lose it on larger distributions, but, let's take a look here at the last year. So they've already started to, you can already see they've already started to improve here. And yeah, this will probably do okay as well. I still would probably bank more on RMAX than this one, but this is still not a bad, I don't think this is a bad choice at all. Yeah, the financial sector, there we go. I plan to sell everything on Thursday. Okay. Like next Thursday, you're selling everything? All right. That's cool. That is cool. Well, let me ask, okay. Why are you planning on selling everything on Thursday? What is your reasoning behind that? I'm curious to know. Ah, yes, Mike Ireland. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, he's a smart cookie. I do like Mike. If that's okay, if that friend is making me money, yeah, I'll jump with them. You jump ship, I will jump. There we go. There we go. Yeah, absolutely. I will say that, when I make a move, I try to let you guys know right away, because I don't want, I would hate for if I think, even though I tell you guys to do your due diligence, I know some of you don't. I know this. And so if I'm seeing something bad coming down for a stock that I've been bullish on for a while, to me, that's really important for me to let you guys know. And that's why I love the fact that we've got all of these live streams so that I can communicate stuff like that. Because then, you have that chance. And not to say, like if I say I have a bad feeling about stock X, so I'm jumping. It doesn't mean you have to, but it probably means that you should probably do some due diligence and take a look and see, perhaps I'm overreacting, or perhaps you're like, oh boy, yep, I can see something bad coming too. Make room on the gangwalk, on the plank. I'm going to jump too. So, we can definitely do this. So next Thursday. Oh, yes, of course, your NVIDIA. So you're basically saying, I'm going to ride this thing. I'm going to ride that explosion. then I'm taking all my cash. I'm taking it. Well, there's nothing wrong with taking profits. There really isn't. And this is that thing I've been talking about. And well, let's bring up. I got the Jamboard back. But bring up the Jamboard. We'll do green. So here we go. And am I on? Yeah, I'm on a pen. All right. So let's just say, for example, I'm just gonna kind of go like this. So let's just say this is NVIDIA, and then you have we'll say this is your earnings call. This is typically what will happen. You'll get that jump if we have a really good earnings call. And then you're going to always get a correction of some amount. So here's that thing. Now, it could, in some cases, it could still turn around and start going back up again. It has happened. But, for some people, they want to buy. They want to sell. They want to get out of there. And then buy it. Well, here's the thing, depending on where you're holding it. So if you're holding it in a non-registered account, you could sell it there and you could buy it back here if you really wanted to. That's what you're doing when you're swing trading or day trading as well. You're taking advantage of that movement in the chart. But if you're in a TFSA, there we go. If you're in a TFSA, you kind of have to wait at least 30 days. I always say 31 days to be on the safe side. So if this was, we'll say that, I don't know what the date is, the 29th. I should turn that into a 2. So if that's the 29th of, October, of August, then you would have to wait. Well, let's say this here is the 29th of September. Oh, eek. There we go. September. So you would have to wait here. But in this situation, in this kind of example, if you kind of look, if that were the case and you did buy back here, you've lost a lot of your profit. So you've only got a little bit of profit in that. So that's just something to keep in mind. But a lot of times, and I'm not saying so much with NVIDIA, instead of that, a lot of times you will get a correction that perhaps comes down and then goes sideways for a bit. Well, at that point, if you're doing this in your TFSA, there's your profit right there when you buy it back. So that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing at all. Now, when we look, and let's actually look at some real data. Look at that, Bitcoin has come down again. All right. Let's look at some real data. So we'll look at some real data. So when we go back here to, actually, you know what? I'm going to go to our 1 day just to make it a little bit easier so that we can actually visualize stuff. All right, here we go. We're on the 1 day chart. Where the heck is everything? All right, here we go. Oh, there it is. Yeah, let's pull this down. All right, and we'll start to spread this out a bit. All right, this is what I'm looking for. But I actually want to be able to see the movements on it. Okay, so if we look, so we have this, here's the earnings coming up. Now the previous earnings, what we did is, we came into the earnings down here and then we just kind of went up and there's that little retracement I was talking about. So it happened, but we continued to go back up and we made it, it went for a long run. So that doesn't mean that it's going to go for a long run this time, and that's kind of one of the reasons I put this in. Is this is sort of going based on what happened here, saying, okay, if it happens like it did last time, this is what we're looking at. But that doesn't necessarily have to be the case. So it could conceivably come up. Maybe it comes up to here, and then you get your correction, and maybe it just goes sideways. that could happen as well. There's lots of things. So if we go to the earnings before that, you'll see once again that gap is it going up. It went up, and then we have that little correction. Then it continued to go up. So that's kind of that thing that happens. The earnings before that, not quite as impressive because this is before a lot of the AI really took off. So in this case here, I'm gonna see here if I can make this a little bit easier to see. There we go. All right, so for this one here, as you can see, it actually didn't do as well. There was probably a little bit, but then they kind of went down and went sideways. So you have to kind of realize that almost anything can happen. So, it depends on what this earnings are going to look like. Now, everybody is anticipating that these are going to be good earnings, and I have a feeling that they are. There's a few accounts that I have where I have shifted a bit more into NVIDIA, and I know there's people who are playing it big time. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see how this works. I'm hoping that this happens because I know some people in this chat, like Al Bundy, will be very, very happy. It'll be like he scored 4 touchdowns in a single game. It'll be big. It'll be big. So we have to sort of see how that's all going to roll out. All right. OL has a couple of Apple stocks, so you're probably not selling those. All right. Mario says, when you sold ATD, I sold mine at 84. I will get more in 1 month in my TFSA if their price goes down. Now, here's the thing. I had no clue about this whole 7-Eleven thing coming. And I will tell you that, this is probably spoiling the news on this week a little bit, but the amount of money that it's going to cost them to pull that off if it goes through is huge. And that means they're going to need to take on more debt. So their debt's going to get pretty high. And they're going to need to print more shares, which is dilution. So, yeah, if that happens, if it sounds like it's going to go ahead, quite honestly, backing out of ATD at that point is not a bad strategy. Because when you get that dilution, whether the shares are at $84, they're bound to come down. You're bound to have that price come down. If you guys remember, that's what happened to Air Canada. When they did all of that dilution, their share prices went from like $50 to half of that, even less. That will happen with ATD. Their share price will come down if they get to that point. Now, we'll talk more about this on the weekend, but it is something to keep in mind, and it is something to pay attention to for sure if you are investors in Alimentation Couche-Tard. All right. Tom says, RMX jumped today past its 52-week high. You're still bullish for an end-year gain. Oh, I'm absolutely bullish on RMX. We're just at the beginning of the rate cut cycle. And as that continues, RMX is just going to soak that up. Now, I did say if there was a non-covered call version, I would be in that. I would absolutely, because some of the potential is capped because of the covered calls. And that's fine. I mean, I still think it's going to do fantastic, but I love the way we've got that 50% Canadian and American mix in there. So I'm loving that. I would love to have a copy of that. That was a non-covered call, just so that I could be milking up those total returns, because I think I could get a bigger number. But yeah, let's see here. I've created my account for Discord, but it's saying I need to join with an invite link. Well, I posted an invite link. I'll post it again. Or do you still need it? I notice your next comment is, I'm in Discord now. Yay. Perfect. I'm going to warn you. I always warn people about Discord. There's a lot of scammers in Discord. So you will occasionally get messages from me that are not me. In fact, any message that's initiated by what appears to be me is not me, because I don't initiate messages. I just don't do it. It's not that I don't want to talk to you guys. It's that it's because of the scammers. That's why. if I, there's only one way I will initiate a message with you, and that is if you have sent me a friend request. If you send me a friend request over on Discord, I will then click OK. And then that way there, if I message you, you know it's coming from me. Because, that's the way the whole friend system works. So that's just one of those things. But just pay attention. A lot of times these scammers, well, let me show you guys. I'll show you. We have over here, we actually have our a scammer alert. So in here is a fake. This is a fake me. So you'll see here, it looks like me, but it's not. It's fake. And it's got an extra dot in there. So dot Mountain Finance instead of just Mountain Finance. Sometimes they'll add an extra I in finance, or there'll always be something hinky. If you look really close, you'll catch it. But if you're not looking for it, it looks legit. And here's a funny thing. I actually changed my profile picture when they first started doing it, because I was like, okay, this way here, people will know it's me. But they changed their profile picture pretty darn fast, probably within about a day. So, I mean, if I changed my profile picture every day, then I could probably beat them that way. But, oh boy. Anyway, that's just what I say. Send me that friend request. I will okay it. I will not turn anybody down. And you can reach out to me. I may not get back to you right away, depending on what I'm doing or, what's going on. Like if I'm sitting here, for example, I'll give you guys an idea. When I start to edit a video, I pretty much close off the rest of the world. So I'm not looking at the messages coming in. I'm not looking at Discord when I'm doing it. I'm just concentrating on getting that done. Now, if I take a break, I might look occasionally. Every so often I do, and there's a message from Vineet. I'm like, hey, Vineet, what's up? type thing. So, it's fine. It's fine. All right. I read September the market's going to plummet in the second half. Something to do with buybacks, I think. It's hard to say. I mean, a lot of people are highly worried about September. That's one of the reasons that there's that for October, sometimes people will call it Uptober, because things then start to come back up. It really depends on what's happening in September. Now, September has a bad rap. One of the reasons is that a lot of the big market crashes in the past have happened in September. The housing crisis happened in September. 9/11 happened in September. So we do have a bit of a bad rap. So September doesn't necessarily have to be bad. But I've heard some rumblings that, there's going to be a lot of, I'm not thinking so much share buybacks per se, because normally a share buyback actually is not really a bad thing when it comes to the value, because what a share buyback is, it's the exact opposite of dilution. So instead of printing more shares and diluting the value amongst the shareholders, when the company buys it back, it's kind of like Pac-Man just eating up a bunch of shares. So they end up at the end of it having less shares outstanding. So that can increase the value. So share buybacks are actually not a bad thing at all. Now, what does sometimes happen is sometimes you get a few things going on with different businesses, with a lot of the institutional investors. It really depends on the year. So we're going to have to watch and see how this one rolls out. Right now, I'm not concerned yet, but I will be watching it as we move into September. So just something to keep in mind. And let's see. And I don't think October is going to plummet too because of the election. That's why I plan to come back in. Okay, fair enough. We'll have to sort of see how things are going to look this year. I don't right now. I just don't have. I don't have enough information to really call October, but it really. And this is kind of a funny thing. I think that we're going to have a lot of volatility. That much to me is pretty clear, that there'll be volatility through September, through October, right up to the election, because people don't know what's going on. I mean, today in election news, let's see, RFK dropped out of the race, and pledged support to Donald Trump. So there we go. Another thing to just cause people to be like, oh, now maybe Donald's going to win. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Well, actually, the person who does know is there's this guy that has this very good ability to predict who wins the presidential election. It's kind of based on a keys. Like there's all of these categories, and whoever wins the most of these categories in this person's system usually wins the election. I think he's been right every time except for once, and that was I think George Bush Sr.'s election, and that was basically came down to one state that he lost from. But that's fine. I think that was over Clinton, and then Clinton beat him. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens. I am, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. I'm gonna reserve my opinion at least on October, but I will only say this: we're gonna have volatility. Let's see. I know buyback's supposed to make the stock go up, but maybe it wasn't a buyback, but something big in the second half of September. Maybe, definitely not a buyback. I don't think. Let's see. I hate stocks dilution. That's why I don't invest in Air Canada. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. So yeah, the interesting thing right now is I did jump in on Air Canada in the challenge. So let's take a look and see how that's doing, actually. I haven't actually looked at it today at all. There we go. I just need to bring up the big one. So currently, Air Canada is sitting at a return on investment of 4.89%. So that's not too shabby. Well, my adjusted cost base, I get in at $14.88. And currently, its market price is $15.61. So, and this here does update all on its own. So I don't have to do anything. So, but it has that 15-minute thing, but we're 15 minutes past the market. So this is what Air Canada is right now, $15.61. So not too shabby for sure. And when we look here at CNR, right now, here's my adjusted cost base, 154. So I was hoping to get it at 149 to pull that down a little bit. But right now it finished the day at 158.71. So now what can I say? All right, let's remove that one. Bring us back in. Jonathan says, I used to mess with the Discord scammers, but then I learned a lot of them are slaves forced to work for criminal organizations in foreign countries. Now I just ignore them. Yeah, exactly. Because, I think a lot of people love the idea of messing with the scammers, but when you do look behind the scenes, a lot of these people are in third world countries and they're not given a choice. Like, they're conditioned to do what they have to do and they have no choice. So yeah, you're right about that. So, it's hard to respect scammers. I hate them. I don't hate the person who's being forced to do it, but I hate the organization that's creating that as a job, let's just say. Larry says, huzzah for the Daily Journal. Okay, nice. All right, guys, we're coming up towards the end. So if you got your last minute questions on this wonderful Friday afternoon, let's get them in there. Now, keep in mind, we're only at an hour. So you drop a bunch of questions in and we could go another hour. You just don't know. We probably won't. Normally, these go anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half, but drop your questions in. I'm going to have some coffee while you guys do that. And while you guys are doing that as well, it's kind of one of these interesting things. When it comes to, all right, we're going to, actually, I'll open up a new page here. I'm going to drop in on Bloomberg and see if we got any more updates on this rail situation, because it is absolutely crazy. I do not know how many times I have had to update, because this is our number one story on the news on the weekend. I've had to update this multiple times because it keeps changing. So right now, it looks like we're still on the same story. So the Teamsters challenge ministers move to resume rail service. All right. So this is going to be really, really interesting once again. So I can't wait. Did you talk about TD news? So we did talk about TD. we were looking at, and let's actually pull this up. Give me a second here. Let's come over here. We're going to go to banks. There we go. And we're going to go to TD. All right, so here we go. So here is our earnings. We'll bring this up. So as you can see, they failed their earnings. Not a great earnings for them. So their earnings per share, they came in low. Basically, not by a big amount. Like neither of these numbers are huge. So they came in 1.07% under expectations. On revenue side, they came in 1.91%. Now, here's the thing, and I mentioned this earlier. They had to put away, they had to put aside, I can't remember the exact number, but it was just over $2 billion. They put aside for those fines that are coming at them from the U.S. in regards to the money laundering scandal. In addition, they also put away another $1 billion for loan loss provisioning. So if you actually were to recalculate, sorry, let's pull this up. If you were to recalculate this data with that money not being taken away, they'd actually have a half decent earnings. So it's not as bad as it looks. It's kind of like they're taking that. It's like you're taking your medicine. That's kind of what these earnings are about for TD. So, they failed, sure, but it's not as bad. It's not as bad as it sort of seems. And once I will be doing my review as well, the banking review, that's coming up. Let's schedule it right now. I haven't actually put the date in, so let's go over here to Discord. Yeah, we'll get out of that. We'll go to the schedule. All right, so let's see here. So this week here, the rest of the banks come out. All right, September 3rd, we have the 0 to 100K challenge. So we'll do it right here on the 6th. So we'll lose the deep dive that week, unfortunately. But we're going to put in the bank review. I'll just put bank review. REV, there we go. So that'll be our bank review. Now, I did have a request. I had a request to include the smaller banks. So I'll probably put something in there. We may not go into as much detail on the smaller banks as we do on the big six, but I will bring up EQ Bank, their earnings, Laurentian Bank, and still Canadian Western Bank. They still have earnings because, even though National Bank is buying them, that hasn't gone, they're still a separate entity at this moment. So we'll bring them up as well. So yeah, Laurentian Bank, Canadian Western Bank, and EQ Bank. We'll add those three to the mix for that next one. So that'll be fun. That will be a lot of fun. So I know we have a lot of EQ Bank fans in the community. And I know Nine likes Royal Bank. Yeah, Royal Bank's not a bad one. We'll have to see which bank is going to look the best coming through. So it'll be interesting. And yeah, I just can't wait for it. It's going to be fun. We'll have that going for us. So nothing wrong with that. All right. Now, one thing I did talk to, I talked to the channel members a little bit about this, and I'm trying to come up with a method. So one of the issues that I've run into is that there's a lot of times, I will get people saying, I want you to do a deep dive on this company. And they really, really, really want it. And I throw it in the pool and it just can't garner the votes to win. So I'm trying to find a solution around that. And right now we're still working. I'm going to work with the channel members on how it's going to look. There's a couple of options. So right now I think there's two options on the table so far. One is sort of a second tier to the channel members. So there'd be a higher tier that would come with the ability to request, or not request, but to get like a deep dive as part of it. So that's one idea. The other idea that I had as well is sort of like a subscriber sponsored video, like maybe do one of those every month where, and we'll have to figure out how we would do this, but where a subscriber could basically sort of have their video. So for example, I know HDiv, a lot of people wanted to see that, but it just couldn't get the votes. So in a case like that, if we opened it up once a month, you know, and maybe it's a special type of super or something. I don't know yet. Um, that would be an option that people could then say, "Oh, I'm finally getting the one I wanted." You can't get, you know, because not every company is going to win a vote, and that's just the sad reality of a democracy. And I don't want to start to get to a point because if I sort of say, okay, well, I'll make an exception this time and I'll let HDiv get a deep dive. Well, then everybody else who has a company, their favorite company that didn't make it, is going to be like, wait a minute. If they're getting it, I got to get it too. So I'm trying to come up with something, some kind of system, just something. Anyway, I'm just sort of giving you guys a sort of a heads up that I'm coming up with something. I'm hoping to have it in place by September. But if it takes longer, it may not be till October. The other thing, we'll forget about that for the moment. We're coming up. October 7th is the 3-year anniversary of the channel. So I have to think about what I want to do for that. I always do some little thing. Typically, I end up doing like a quick little, sort of like a mini live stream just to sort of celebrate it. So that's kind of where I'm leaning, is we'll just do a little one. But it'll be fun. It might be something where, you know, we're just chatting in my backyard again or something. We won't have an eclipse, but anyway, we'll figure that out as we get a little bit closer. We still got to get through September before we get there. But I think it's, I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm corny. I could be corny. I'm probably corny. I mean, well, I keep calling Bitcoin Bitcorn. So, oh, speaking of Bitcoin or Bitcoin, I'm wondering how they are doing right now. Let's take a gander. Let's take our last look and see how it is looking. MC list. Here we go. And Bitcoin. All right. Oh, we're on the 1 day. That's why. Let's go to we'll go back to our 1 hour. All right. And we'll bring it all in now. And there we go. Almost got it back. We almost got it back to where we want. All right. Oh, it looks like we're a little bit below the line. A little bit below the line. There we go. There we go. Yeah, we're just a little bit below the line. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see if we can break this over the weekend. We are heading towards a big price movement in Bitcoin. At least everybody believes it. I believe it too. I believe it too. But I also am realistic. Even though everybody and their dog believes it, Bitcoin can still decide to do something crazy. So I keep that with an open. I keep an open mind about it. But if we do, I will tell you this much: I stayed in my trade. I did not sell here, only because if we get this crazy move, and I don't want to kind of miss it. The worst thing, imagine if I sold right here and we got our crazy move, and all of a sudden we're up around 68K when we opened at on Monday. That would absolutely suck. So, you know, I'm kind of looking at it that way. Of course, there's always the chance that we could come back down. So, and if that's the case, I'll deal with that then. But got a good feeling. I have a good feeling about them for sure. Jungle says sold a bit of Royal Bank today while it was high and bought VFV. Nice. I don't think you can go wrong with VFV, honestly. It is a really good ETF. And really, this is an interesting kind of topic. Those of you who follow Brandon Beavis over there on Beavis Wealth, he has stopped investing in individual stocks. He has now moved into investing in ETFs. So in his case, I think he's investing in VOO, and then there's also an all equity that he's doing. He did a video on it, so if you guys are interested in that, definitely head over to Beavis Wealth, check it out. But yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting. I never thought he'd leave individual stocks, but he made some good points. Part of the reason is because of Blossom. So he wants to be able to devote a lot more time to Blossom, as running it as a business. And that, of course, means he doesn't have as much time for the due diligence and everything else. So he's creating a portfolio that takes minimal effort from him. So minimal effort. He can just go in and pretty much just buy buy as he needs to, dollar cost average, and let it do its own thing. So that's not a bad thing at all. A good time to sell RY. The dividend came in today. Yeah. Here's the thing. I will say, here's another prediction that I made last quarter. I said I think we're going to see a dividend increase in Bank of Nova Scotia, so Scotiabank. I'm still holding to it. I'm still holding to it. We'll see. We'll see. But I think we'll see. I think we're going to get it. We'll find that out, of course, this week coming up. Jonathan says Brett needs to start a Bitcoin crypto. Yeah, Brett and his cat and some Bitcoin. There we go. I'm all for it. All for it. It's a very good day for Ethi. I bought it when it was $3 a share, and NVDH is still too new. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I mean Ethi definitely went up. So you bought it for $3 a share. I have it in here somewhere, I think. I thought I had Ethi in here. Maybe I don't. Maybe I don't. Really? I should just make a list with just crypto in it. But that's fine. I'm going to add it. ETHY. Let's see where they are. Oh, it's because I was searching. Wrong thing. All right, there we go. ETHY. Really? ETHY. Why is it not there? Oh, let's put it in all. That's why. It was on stocks. All right, here we go. Here is our Ethi fund. Let's take a look. Where are you at? 347. So you're up 47 cents a share. So that's not too shabby. That's not too shabby at all. Let's see. Too much work to do. Individual. Yeah, absolutely. Now I do individual stocks because, well, that work is what I do for a living, right? So, I'm eating, drinking, and all of that fun stuff with stocks. So, yeah. But if I ever step away from stocks, like if I step away from like for example, if I retire, I have no intentions of retiring, but if I were to ever retire, I would probably then move into an ETF portfolio. Probably. We'll have to see. It's hard to say. It's pure speculation. And I don't know. For me, and it's funny, for me, retirement, this is what retirement looks like. It probably means I would drop down to one live stream a week and maybe one video. So yeah, I'd pretty much just cut in half what I'm doing, but I can't see me walking away completely. Now, mind you, if I got to a point where, let's say, it was just physically impossible to make videos or to do live streams, that would be my true retirement. But until that day, hopefully 50 years into the future, or with AI teaching us how to live forever type thing, maybe we'll celebrate the year 3000 together. Who knows? I think by then, though, I think I don't think there'll be anything even remotely like YouTube, to be honest. So we'll have to figure that out as we go. Tim says, I think it is totally possible something will replace Bitcoin and make it obsolete. It will go to zero. Okay. And that's an interesting thought. One of the things right now, I think it's pretty safe. And the reason I think it's safe is that we've got a lot of recognition by government agencies, El Salvador has it as one of their official currencies. We're starting to see regulation come in. Now, that doesn't mean that Bitcoin's here forever. It could conceivably, yeah, it could. Or here's the thing. What if Bitcoin sort of no longer sits front and center? Suppose it still has its value and it becomes that true store of value, kind of like gold. And it just sort of sits there in the background and nobody really thinks much about it anymore. That could happen. I think that could happen. And then you could have other, you could have more currency-based crypto that comes out. That would be more of your, your day-to-day. If we got to that point, it's hard to say. I don't think zero is really a possibility anytime soon. But I would never say that it could never be a possibility, because anything could happen. I mean, absolutely anything could happen. I mean, imagine if we had some kind of event, like a black swan event. For example, if we had a solar flare from the sun that was really, really, really powerful, like even more powerful than the infamous Carrington event, and it completely fried every computer on the planet. Yeah, there could be a lot of issues there, considering if you somehow manage to destroy every server on the planet, that could kind of wipe out crypto. It could wipe out pretty much a lot of stuff. Now, mind you, the odds of that are slim. They're not zero, but the odds of that are slim. And I do think there's probably, I can't believe our government wouldn't have some kind of harden, because you can harden against solar flares. So I have to believe that they have some kind of a hardened backup system for most things. Maybe it could be a situation where, we may have to spend 6 months without power as they're rebuilding all of the transformers and things like that. But hopefully all of the data will still be there on the other side of that. So, but I'm hoping that doesn't happen. This year we had some pretty big ones actually, and they actually weren't that bad. They turned out to be a lot milder than what they actually anticipated. So I'm gonna should we harden everything against it? Yeah, absolutely. But they're not going to do it just because of the cost. But yeah, we'll have to see. Let's see. Al says, I discovered this thing in the USA last week. You basically can convert your RRSP into TFSA. I wish I knew this years ago. I would have saved hundreds of thousands of dollars in executing this conversion. It is worth doing it, though. I just need more money. Okay, that's interesting. So you can convert your RRSP into a TFSA. I have not heard of this. I will say, because my mind goes to saying, okay, but in the process of doing that, though, aren't you creating a massive taxable event? Because to pull everything out of your RRSP and put it into your TFSA, that creates a taxable event. Yeah. If that's possible, I need to know about it. I do need to know about it. So I'm going to have to look into that one, Al. I will. Yeah, that's very interesting sounding. Huh. Because, and this is kind of why I guess, I don't want to say I'm skeptical, but it surprises me only because, okay, there we go. There was that taxable event. Yeah, that's what I thought. As long as there's if there's that taxable event. So it's called the backdoor Roth. Okay. Interesting. Don't know if it's I don't know if it's quite up there where I need to make a video about it, but it does sound pretty interesting nonetheless. I do want to read about it. So, all right, everybody. I think we've hit the end. I think it's time for you guys to go and enjoy your weekend. I'm going to be back here Sunday. We'll have the news and all of that fun stuff. So until then, everybody, have yourself a fantastic weekend. We don't have too many summer weekends left, so be sure to enjoy this one. So until next time, everyone, take care. We'll see you again very, very soon. Bye-bye, everyone.